very good afternoon to you, to all our viewers in South Africa and across the continent. Here's hoping you had a lovely weekend. Welcome to ANN7 Newsroom on this Monday afternoon. My name is Audrey Chimwanda. The time has gone 3 p.m. Central African time. We do love to hear from you. Our Twitter handle is at ANN7TV, and you can live stream us from wherever you are in the world as well. Our website is ANN7.com. Here are our top stories we're following for you. South African Reserve Bank toes Absa's line of defense in the apartheid-era debt scandal, says there are many inaccuracies in the Public Protector's interim report on Absa. Former Public Protector Madonsela says the report was ready when she was in office, but an administrative error prevented her from finalizing it. Marathon meeting between ANC top six and the stalwarts at Luthuli House. The sticking point continues to be the stalwarts' demand for a separate consultative conference ahead of the party's policy conference. Alexandra students on the warpath over removal of certain courses at Ellis Park. Students and Nehau workers go on a rampage, barricading roads and torching a vehicle. And tributes continue to pour in for South African jazz legend Thandi Klaasen, who passed on yesterday. How is it pronounced? And that is our top story this afternoon. Tributes continue to pour in for South African veteran jazz singer Thandi Klaasen, who died yesterday at the age of 86. She passed on in the early hours of Sunday morning after a long battle with pancreatic cancer. She will be remembered for her indomitable spirit as a person who succeeded against all odds. Klaasen suffered a stroke in December, and she was honored with the Order of Ikamanga in silver in 2006 in her song Sapphire Town, in which she masterfully and beautifully describes the town where she was brought up. Thandi Klaasen is survived by her daughter, Lauren. Now let's take a look at the tributes which are coming through social media.
Let's just take a look at them. The first one is from Minister Nathi Mthethwa, and he says, "We are saddened to learn that jazz legend Thandi Klaasen has passed on. Our thoughts are with her daughter Lorraine, her loved ones and her fans." Our next tweet is from at Noxie Sibia, and she says, "The strong character that was #Thandi Klaasen. May your soul rest in peace." Our next tweet is from Sipho Hotsticks Mabuse, who says, "Sad news, rest in peace. #Thandi Klaasen, always humble and so gracious. We have lost a giant of South African music." Our next tweet is from at Felicia Mabuza, and she says, #Thandi Klaasen always brought energy and laughter to the studio on the Felicia Mabuza show. We loved to have her on the show. Rest in peace, Thandi. Our last tweet is from at Kaya James, and it says, #Thandi Klaasen, you represented the Sapphire Town generation so wonderfully, always full of life and an amazing giant on stage. #RIP. Well, those are the tweets just coming in for Thandi Klaasen.
There's social media reactions coming from fans across the country and the continent as they pay their tributes to Thandi Klaasen. Of course, we do know that she passed away yesterday. According to reports, it was to do with pancreatic cancer. She is survived by her daughter, who also has been talking to the media and to the fans and telling us exactly what has been happening in the late singer's life within the past few days. We'll be getting reactions as well from musicians across the country, telling us about the legacy that she leaves behind, as not just as an artist, but as a mother, the role that she played during the apartheid era. And those are some of the reactions that we'll be bringing in for you. Well, joining me in studio for more on this is Professor Pitika Ntuli. He is an African historian. Professor, thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, and to the viewers.
What are your fondest memories when you think of Thandi Klaasen?
A part of my life, I grew up in Sapphire Town. She was part of what you could call the Sapphire Town Kofifi Renaissance. It was a time of Net Nakasa, of Ken Temba, of Casey Mutsisi, Jubi Mayet, yes. And always a very pleasant, going person. Always to the grassroots, and spoke the Tsotsital of the people, even wherever she walked. There was no stardom or divadom about her, right, but just her ordinary and a sense of purpose.
And obviously she played a huge role during the apartheid era, like you've already alluded to, in terms of her songs and you know, just entertaining you know, people during that time. The younger generation perhaps will not be familiar, but I'm sure she has managed to transcend across generations. What kind of a message do you think she was passing?
I mean, the message was that you need to you know, stand for what you believe in, and you've got a talent, and nothing should stop you from articulating and displaying your talent. When some kind of a rival organized people to throw acid onto her face in order to discourage her from standing in front of people, she so much believed in her own you know, talent that when she stands in front, people are not going to look at that face. The face gets itself to become a musical note that you know, people you know, so much you know, loved.
And that says a lot about the character that she was, that even after the acid attack, beautiful as she was and still remains, she still managed to go out there and continue singing. We actually have on the phone line, shall we still call her the Princess of Africa when it comes to music, Ms. Yvonne Chaka Chaka, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Unfortunately, under such sad circumstances, with Thandi Klaasen having passed away, what are your memories of her?
Thank you for having me, and hello to your viewers. It's, you know, I'm just happy that you've got that young man talking so great about a mother. You know, it shows that Mam Thandi was about every day, about everything. That's why even younger people resonate with them to want to do what they did. When I went to the Market Theatre to watch that whole musical, I was gobsmacked. I thought this is of international standards. So that's what Mam Thandi brought to us as young people.
And it resonates also in, we're at the house where, you know, people are paying their last respects, and they're saying it's actually a celebration of her life, not so much a sad situation, but we'll have to leave it there for now. Yvonne Chaka Chaka there on the phone line, just giving us her take and what she remembers of Thandi Klaasen. Thank you so much for your time. You at home also can pay your tributes to the jazz veteran. You can call on 011-542-2186 to pay your tributes, and we'll be so happy to hear from you. Coming back into studio, Professor, thank you for staying with us. Yvonne Chaka Chaka, they're obviously speaking very fondly of the late Thandi Klaasen, also being in the same industry as her, in the career that we have seen her go through the past decades. What kind of a legacy do you think Thandi leaves?
I think Thandi looks a very, very, very huge you know, legacy. It is demonstrated that she has got the Boabab you know, honor that the president had given to her. She had won the Count you know, Pushkin you know, prize for music. She had won the living legend thing in Bogota, Women in the Arts things. I mean, her song and her own very being. People forget that we did not get our country liberated simply by armed struggle. It got liberated by the role that arts and culture had played. She played with Miriam Makeba, Dorothy Masuga, Roberta Fleck, Patricia LaBelle, and all of these you know, people doing the big anti-apartheid things in overseas. She drew attention to who we are, and that's one of the biggest legacies that you do. But what I remember about her is that she's just one person with an indomitable spirit, the spirit that you cannot put down. You could put in stones and bury her, but you know, Thandi's you know, memory shall always loom absolutely large. She was just one of a kind.
Rise. Well, such fond memories. There we have our reporter who's outside Thandi Klaasen's house as the family members are gathered there paying their last respect. Natasha Piri, very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. We cross back live to you. A few hours ago, you were telling us how it really is a celebration of her life and how her family and friends are just gathered and remembering the beautiful person that she was, not just as an artist, of course, but as a human being as well. Can you just bring us up to date with regards to the proceedings so far?
Well, very good afternoon to you, Audrey, and to the viewers once again. And just to actually corroborate what you were saying, indeed, lots of people coming in here, lots of influential people, legendary musicians also saying the same thing, indeed, that they're not here to mourn the life of their dear beloved friend, but actually they're here to celebrate the life of the late Mam Thandi. But just to take you through what just actually happened a couple of minutes ago, we just saw the Minister of Arts and Culture, Natim Teta, walk in, as well well as the mayor of Ekurhuleni, Mzwandile Masina. We also saw the likes of Mamleta Mbuli walk in, Joe Mafel, and of course, earlier on we were with Uba Babsi Mlangeni, but we actually joined by Uba Blondi Konamanje, who was very close to Mam Thandi. He'll just relate his fondest memories of the late icon. What do you remember her for? She lived her life to the fullest. And what do you have to say?
Well, I can tell you, Guti, when it comes to performance, that was my school. That was my school. She's one of the ladies who taught me, Uguti, ngoma, you know, don't stop, you know, don't like, konje 18, you know, just go She's amazing. She is one of the most amazing performers I've grown up knowing. She is actually my elder sister's age. So because of my elder sister's involvement in music, I was able to be exposed to all these legends. And we became special friends. I was little. I mean, she's not really my friend. She's my elder, you know, but she is so childlike that you forget she's much older than you. Her advices, what she tells you, in all honesty, straight up, you know, there's no way you can walk away from her with what's happening, you know. And basically I'd just like to say to the family, Seguliwe, Seguliwe, osatubuli sipamu sashoga mnandi, guliwe sashoga mnandi, guliwe satubuli sipamu.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song, beautiful tribute, beautiful rendition to the late Umam Thandi. I'm still going to keep you here for a while. Blondie, I mean, we were talking about Babsi earlier on, saying that yes, Umam Thandi was a straight talker. She took no nonsense. She called a spade a spade. Just, can you relate any moments of that?
You know, one of the things she liked to say, she's like, abantu abaningi yazi babulawa HIV, abanye babulawa abanye baphethwe high blood, abanye baphethwe ushukela, athi mina ngiphethe itswayi. That's how straight she was.
Oh, we won't relate that. And for those who know what that is, we won't relate that to the viewers at home.
It's called Cerebos. She's basically, I don't know what to say to this, but she's just full house. She's full house, and I owe my growth as a musician to her being. Seeing her perform, seeing her tackle an audience, you know, she reminds me of a younger guy, Freddie Mercury from Queen, you know, and she was just such a performer. She was, I don't know what to say about this amazing woman. Honestly, I'm just humbled to have known her, and I have grown knowing her, and I am stronger knowing her. Ngithinjena mbokodo alehlanga elingehlile when akhwayitsakhala ntwe sa etsaling. So asiqineni maqabani musicians, be strong. Tina, I'm here as a representative of Music Association, Music Performance Association of South Africa, MPASA. You know, she was one of our members, and we came to do what we must do. Our mandate is to grow the industry one more time, to basically industrialize the legends chapter, you know, to take care of the legends, make sure that they don't live, they don't die paupers. And by the time that they go, that in our associations with our partners, our insurance company like B3, that we should be able to give our legends a decent funeral, you know. And we are humbled, you know, as MPASA, that groups like B3 have come on board to say our legends will have a nice life, and they will also have a great send-off. And this is our involvement here.
Talking about a great send-off, I was speaking to Lorraine, Umam Thandi's daughter, earlier on, and she was saying that even up to the point where she died, when she was in hospital, she brought smiles upon the other patients as well. Paint us a picture and paint the viewers a picture there at home. I mean, Gunjai, how's the atmosphere here?
Here, I haven't seen anybody coming here cry. I haven't seen that. everybody walks in and is touched by a memory of Sis Thandi. And, you know, much as you come in and you want to like feel, you know, like people like look at you like, uyamkhumbula Sis Thandi wathini? Uyamkhumbula Sis Thandi bekayenzani? So you end up like, ka, 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 ka. There is no tears in this house, only joy. And thank you, South Africa, for always standing by your legends. And don't stop right now, because right now is the time when you can celebrate the legends' good living. We are going to live good because the president of this country has authorized that.
And talk about living good and talking about, you know, the support that you've seen here in South Africa, not only on social media, but internationally as well. So many people have come to show their support of Mam Thandi, saying that they remember this and that about Mam Thandi, her favorite songs like Sapphire Town, the accolades that she won as well, the Golden Globe of Baobab, excuse my pronunciation. But I mean, just talking about her legacy lastly, I mean, what kind of a legacy does she leave behind?
Pity that us as a country, we haven't dug into this section of our liberty, that we haven't created a place where we capture these legendary living. It's just a great pity. But I pray and hope, Uguti, throughout all this chaos, that some of us have been able to capture her legacy so that we can share with our children, because we can talk about her, but if you can't show it, then really it's hard for the children to pick up. So we are saying, Guti, our stories from now on will be documented. This is the one revolution that's going to be televised, you know. So going forward, thank you, South Africa. Thank you for enjoying this woman. Thank you for giving us space in your houses, in your halls, in your cinemas, in your stadiums to entertain you.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut you there. A huge tribute here from Obab Blondie, talking about the woman that Thandi, Mam Thandi was, that she was really larger than life, straight talker, straight to the point, honest, but listen, she lived her life. Unfortunately, you're going to have to cut it here, Audrey, and cross back to you in studio.
An end of an era indeed, Natasha. Thank you so much for that report, and to your guests as well for entertaining us with those vocal cords. Well, you at home are welcome to join in the conversation. Pay your tributes to the jazz veteran. You can phone us. Our phone number is 011-542-2186. I believe we have a caller on the line. Doyce from Davidson, very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. What are your memories of Mam Thandi? What are you going to miss the most?
Yes, you're speaking to Boyce from Davidson, not Doyce. But just to see, are you with me?
Yes, Doyce, please.
I just want to say that we missed a cream of crop in the African jazz music. I remember the time during my youthful stage at the Market Theatre, she used to impress us a lot with her thoughtful that she used to speak. And she was very jovial. We're going to miss her. And then, I mean, our generation of today, the culture and our tradition, the respect she used to instill on us, we're going to miss her dearly. It's such unfortunate I can't try and resemble the song that she used to play for us. But anyway, she must rest in peace. She did. She was a pillar of our African music. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments there. That's our caller from Davidson. Coming back into studio, Professor Ntuli, you're now guest saying it's very important for us to tell our stories through artists like Mam Thandi, and how everything should be documented for the next generations. Also, just having a look at her career that spanned for over 50 years, you will correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. That longevity that we don't see in artists anymore these days, we don't see a lot of that. What do you think gave her that, that talent, that she could go through so many decades and still be revered as such a glorious artist?
But remember that when she was at primary school, when the jazz maniacs visited her school, that's what kind of kicked her off. Even as a teenager, she had come up with a group called the Quads, Sisters. All her life was to communicate with human beings.
Right.
What Blondie says is a very, very serious thing. If somebody were to bomb South Africa today, future archaeologists will think that South Africa was a white country, because all the monuments that are going to be shown will be of white people. You go to Germany, anywhere, there's Beethoven, there's Mozart, there's Sibelius, and all of their legends got statues, of them. With us, it's just we are there, buried, dead, and there's nothing as a marker actually to show. She came from Alexander Township, I mean from Sophia Township. The Sophia Township had all the grades from Bloku Modisane to Ezekiel Mpahlele. It was a renaissance of a kind. It was a unique space. But you go actually in there, there's going to be nothing that you actually indicate. So what is going to remain after Thandi Klaasen is gone?
Right.
I would like to
what
see
is there to
very
remember her for? We need to celebrate our artists more, not to wait for them to pass away.
Yes.
And then we make all this
but
noise.
There's another interesting story.
We'll take a caller, then I'll come back to you, Professor. Alfie is on the phone line. Alfie, thank you for joining us. You're phoning us from Springs.
Hi. How are you, ma'am?
Very good afternoon, Alfie. Please go ahead.
Great. What a lovely person that we have actually lost. She was larger than life. She was a music icon and a loving person. She was a philanthropist in so many ways that one can never ever describe. She was a darling who loved making all around her happy. I remember when we put up a jazz concert at the Springs Indoor Center, she was there. She and Sis Queeness, and they opened their hearts and did everything for us, to help the church. And I can just say, may her soul rest in peace.
For sharing with us your fond memories there of Mam Thandi. I understand we have Wezi on the phone line as well. Very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. Please go ahead and share your thoughts or your memories.
Hello.
Yes, Wezi, please go ahead.
Yes, madam. Akahambanga uyojoyina ijenge yakhe oviki mhlongo oboDennis Mpake oqinise soul oMakheda Vase oDikhoza oDotithiyo noMatheba uyovula igroup akafanga usoqhubeka ngomsebenzi wakhe imakahambe kakuhle.
Just coming back into studio, Professor, it's just such fond memories of even her fans, people that didn't know her personally, are telling us what they remember of her and her career. And we were talking about how it is important to celebrate our artists when they're still alive. Erect their statues. Let the generations know the role that our artists played in the liberation of this country from apartheid.
There was another thing. I mean, yesterday I lost my wallet with 800 rand in it. I was so miserable. Everybody who knows me says you sound differently. But then, here is Thandi Klaasen, whose daughters put in money. 170,000 rand. And she went over to the bank to go and draw the money. Only 7 rand remained. Did not know what actually happened to that money. But she took it absolutely very philosophically, that she had not recovered even that amount of money, but she was able to look at it.
It's devastating.
And talk
that's a huge amount of money. That's how she looked at life. That was her attitude to life.
The minister, Nati Mthethwa, has got this program called the Living Legends, where you take the legends to where they say they lived and studied in different places to put in their own skills, in the way it is. So whenever he organizes the meeting of the legends, then I will see Thandi there. The first thing Thandi will say to me, give me a poem about myself. Why are you always smiling when everybody in South Africa is angry?
Wow.
I mean,
food for thought.
Yeah, food for thought.
She would provoke your thoughts in that
manner.
Yeah,
she for that. And then when she was receiving the Imbogodo Women in the Arts Awards, last year, she was of course on a wheelchair. And then Dorothy.
But she had suffered a heart attack in December earlier. A very strong spirited
woman. Very strong spirit. Then Dorothy Masuka was there. Abigail Kubeka was there. They all stood up, and we were the 4 of us, and we said we are going to sing a song. She stood up from her wheelchair and led actually the singing. I looked at us around and wondered who of us is wheelchair based. Her spirit
that's how
exudes,
Amazing.
Anything. Very amazing human being.
But then we have these legends, Professor, who have all this great talent. But, unfortunately, we have run out of time. My director keeps telling me we've run out of time. We'll leave it there. Professor Pikitantuli, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your memories with Umam Thandi. And, of course, we certainly hope that she does rest in peace. And we hope we'll be talking to you again soon.
Thank you very much.